In fact, I have no conscious memory of ever not being an actor, but while acting is what I do for a living, activism is what I do to stay alive. I'm often asked how I managed to unite the two, and the truth is I don't have a clue, because it was never a conscious effort. It was more of a natural progression. Of course, if you grew up in a very large immigrant family, you were either Irish Catholic or Hispanic, and I was lucky enough to be both, so I had a head start when it came to social justice activism. Each time someone stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, they send forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and injustice. Those words were spoken at the University of Cape Town, South Africa in 1966 at the height of apartheid by Senator Robert Francis Kennedy. They are inscribed on his memorial at Arlington National Cemetery as well, and they have been a powerful source of inspiration for my generation ever since. You know, the more the world changes, the more it remains the same, I believe, because the most important needs of every human being on earth are not only food, clothing, and shelter, but equally the need for mercy, justice, and healing. Without the former, the latter are useless. It is the gross inequality, of course, of food, clothing, and shelter that divides us, but it is the absolute necessity for healing, justice, and mercy that unites us. Clearly, we need a far better understanding of who we are and where we come from. In that regard, consider the following from Earth as a Village by Philip M. Haster from the Stanford School of Medicine. If we could shrink the Earth's population of over 7 billion people down to a single village consisting of 100 people with all the existing ratios the same, it would look something like this. There would be 57 Asians, 12 Europeans, 17 Africans, and 14 people from the Western Hemisphere. There would be 52 men and 48 women, 70 non-whites and 30 whites, 67 non-Christians and 33 Christians. There would be no doctor, no nurse, no dentist, no hospital or clinic, and no school. There would be no safe drinking water, no common language, no electricity or paved roads. 70 people in the village would be unable to read or write. 50 people would suffer from malnutrition and related diseases. 1 person would be near death and 1 person near birth. The entire food supply for the village would depend on outside sources. 1 person in that village would possess 59% of the entire world's wealth, and that 1 person would be a U.S. citizen. There would be 1 college graduate, 1 TV, 1 computer, and the average person in the village would be a 13-year-old Chinese girl. By your presence here today, you are not the typical or average young people who generally see things as they are and ask why. You are dreaming things that never were and saying, why not? And while no one can ever really tell us any fundamental truth that we don't already know instinctively, the challenge lies in accepting the responsibility for that knowingness. So whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, we are all responsible for each other and the world, which is exactly the way it is, because consciously or unconsciously, we have made it so. And while none of us made any of the rules that govern the universe, we do make all the rules that govern our own hearts and minds, and we are all very grateful inhabitants of those millions of strangers who have gone before us over the years and who assure us that the world is still a safe and wonderful place despite our fears. And we're not asked to do great things, we are asked to do all things with greater care. Such an ideal is rare in a culture of so many compromised values and so much cynicism, a culture that all too often knows the value of everything and